I have already predicted the first Latino American president to be elected in 2032. Ivanka Trump, the sacrificial limb, the karma through her dad. You can't script it any better. Son president after daddy president, George H.W., black president, everybody hated Bush, racist white people, Donald Trump gets chosen, control racist white people, Joe Biden is elected, Kamala Harris is chosen, Kamala's so bad to allow another Trump to make it to the White House. Oh, she's Jewish. She's part of the chosen people. Oh. The Gentile, the fake Jew enters the White House. Everything that Trump has done during his presidency is going to happen again with his daughter. Right-wing libertarianism. Billionaire corporatism on steroids. Donald Trump, the racist, saying he's going to deport all these Mexicans. Karma! Karma's a bitch! His daughter's losing to the Latino. That's karma for everything Trump did in 2016 with this campaign of hate-filled populism.
U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
That is right, everybody. His daughter will be a one-term president. The Trump presidential dynasty is going to end against one of those fine people crossing the American border. Yes, a Mexican American is going to end the Trump family. Karma. You can't script it any better. Ivanka Trump's going to be a one-term president. She's going to lose big against a Mexican American president after everything her father did. You can't script it any better. Karma has to Macho 44. Julian Castro has to Macho 44. There would be 17 prior Democratic presidents. Because Joe Biden is Democratic president number 16, Kamala Harris is Democratic president number 17. Now, the first Latino president would be the 49th president of the United States. Revelation has Gemacho 49. It's Antichrist has Gemacho 49. What are we talking about? We're talking about the fake Jew Ivanka Trump, which is mentioned in Revelation 2-9. Those who say they are Jewish but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. It is interesting that it's the Antichrist as too much of 154. Latino Americans as too much of 154. Latino Americans are going to see right through Ivanka Trump, especially if she tries to pull off a con of changing her name to Kushner in order to distance herself from her father. Well, these young Latino Americans won't forget about Donald Trump's opening comments since he launched his campaign, and he talked about these murderers and rapists jumping across the border, saying Mexico is not sending their best, they're not sending their finest people. They will not forget about it. Latino Americans is going to be the reason why Ivanka Trump loses the election. Ivanka Kushner would go down to Mexico. Karma through her father. Julian Castro born over at Texas. Texas Estamacha 69. Mexico Estamacha 69. You know what's interesting about inauguration year 33? The year 33 would be the end of Trump in the Masonic family. It would be the end of Kushner. It would feature the first Mexican-American president inaugurated in the year 33. It would be a 16-year run for the Masonic Donald Trump family. They were elected in year 16. The Trump family, it all ends 16 years later in the 2032 election. The end of this Masonic occultic family in 2032. I also like Rand Paul as vice president to push libertarianism in the American government. Oh, big government, Orwellian, big brother, evil. Anti-government is really the evil mark of the beast. What would you do without your Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid? She would lose, obviously, to Julian. There's a strong chance that she's going to change her name to Ivanka Kushner. He is from San Antonio, Texas, Julian Castro. The Jesuits are the Society of Jesus. Does he have a Jesuit background? That'd be really interesting to break down. At that point in time, libertarianism would push America into a deep depression. It would be the reason why Ivanka lost. Cuban Americans have learned the hard truth that corporatism in the Democratic Party is not socialism. The exact opposite of this far-right socialist propaganda that we see through the decade of the 20s turned out to be false, because free market laissez-faire policies hurt them. Gutting Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, public housing is actually really bad. Cuban Americans are going to wake up to this. Now, why is the first Latino president being elected on November the 2nd of 2020 on this Tuesday? It is because the first Latino president would be Mexican American. The first Latino president would be elected on the Day of the Dead. The day that the Trump family is over, the day that the Republican Party dies, the day of the death is a Mexican holiday celebrated in Mexico and elsewhere associated with the Catholic celebrations of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. This is held on November the 1st and November the 2nd. Election Day is November the 2nd in 2032. Election Day is the Day of the Dead. This is why Julian Castro will win. The Day of the Dead is karma in the death of the Donald Trump family, especially after his racist rhetoric against Mexican Americans. The Day of the Dead, Donald John Trump, first Mexican American president. Is this the revelation we're talking about with the 49th president in the simple gematria of revelation equaling 121st? You can't script this any better. His daughter is going to lose to the Mexican. Is going to lose to these very not so fine people crossing the border. You can't script it any better. Ivana Marie Trump, Latino president, the racist Donald in the grave, sees his daughter lose to the Mexican American. The Trump cult ends against the Mexican American nominee. You can't script it any better. You can't script it any better. Especially when white people die off, especially when Cuban Americans see the disastrous libertarian policies that they think is the problem, that big government is the problem, not corporatists. I feel bad for Cubans. They're so brainwashed. I can't say brainwashed. Well, they are misinformed. I feel bad for them because they did live through Castro, some of them, but democratic socialism is far different than authoritarian socialism. November the 2nd of 2032 is a 65-day numerology. Is Florida the ticket to the presidency for Julian Castro? I believe it is. A Latino-American president, Julian Castro, during a crash, can gain these Cuban-American votes. I believe it's Cuban that has the same gematria. Cubans has the same gematria as Texas, where Julian Castro is from. On the Day of the Dead, would see him win the presidency. Inauguration Day, January 20th of 2033, is a date numerology of 74. Jesus, cross. Are we going to see the Jew in the White House again, the fake Jew Ivanka Trump? Well, that'd be the end of Ivanka's presidency on a 74-day in numerology. Her last full day on a 73-day numerology. So the crash will be happening by then. This would be the 62nd election. The 62nd election happens right before inauguration year 2033. By the numbers, the Masonic Donald Trump family is going down 16 days later, 16 years later, I should say, from the beginning, which was 2016. It began against Clinton, against Hillary, and this all ends in 2033. The scripted karma of Donald Trump's racism through his daughter. On the Day of the Dead, the first Latino American president will be a Mexican American president. And let's take a look at Julian Castro. Year 74. Date numerology is 74, January 20th, 2032. Year numerology of 37. Oh, Fidel Castro, socialism, oh no. This would be good symbolic propaganda for the elites if they want a corporatist with the last name Castro, getting these right-wing suckers to think that, oh, socialism is in the White House. You can't think of any better propaganda to sync up a last name with this particular election. His year numerology is 77, his birthday numerology. Yes, the end of Trump against the Mexican American, against the Mexican American presidential candidate. Biden's the 46th president. Julian is 46 years of age right now. He'd be the next president elected after Kamala Harris, as a matter of fact. And let's see what year he would be. 58 years of age. Trump won the 58th election. Freemasonry has Gematria 58. 59 years of age in 2033. Liberal has Gematria 59 and 32. A liberal would win the 2032 election. Just like how after 47 presidents, a Republican is going to be Ivanka Trump. Julian versus Ivanka. Castro defeats Trump in 2032. Karma in the Day of the Dead, and Donald Trump's racism and bigotry, the karma for all of that. And to think that the Day of the Dead is All Saints Day. In San Antonio is Saint Anthony. So he is born in a city that is named after a saint. Julian Castro, first Mexican-American president. 16th U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Trump. The Trump dynasty lasts for 16 years because the war against Trumpism is not over. And to think once again that it is, well, let's see. Trump quote has the same gematria as Mark of the Beast. I talked about this in a prior video. I wonder how this ties into the 36th election. You know, that's a pretty interesting thing to talk about.